Girls across the nation that'll eat this up. Babe, I know that it's just over. Could you bottle it up? Get down to the heart of it. No, it's not hard. Out of your luck. Don't make me tell you again. Woo!
The LEGO Speed Champions Mercedes G-Class and SL63 is one of the largest Speed Champions sets recently. But before we open it, let's look at the box. At the front, we see the usual image of the two cars, and at the back of the box, we see the two cars again, and comparisons to the real-life cars. And we already get an indication of how large this set is for Speed Champions by comparing its thickness to other sets. But now let's open the box. Inside, we get 6 numbered bags, 2 instruction manuals, and 2 sticker sheets. Now let's begin building the set. Beginning with the SL63, we start with the chassis. Here we add the gear selector to the car, and now we attach the exhaust to these clips. Next we add on the wheel arches, and a few more pieces to build up the rear. These printed pieces will become the rear lights for the car, and then we add on the Mercedes-Benz logo with a sticker. These are the seats for the car, and we attach them to these clips here so they can fold down to access the rear seats. And of course, we also need to add on the steering wheel. Now we add on the front axle to the car and the wheel arches. These are the side panels, which will become the doors of the car. This tile with a sticker will become the engine cover for the car. And now this assembly is attached upside down to that clip, and this will become the front bumper for the car. This is a really clever assembly, and it's used to make the grille for the car. It's attached onto the front here. We add on a few more printed pieces. This time these are to make the headlights for the car. And now we have the engine cover for the car, which will open and close as we can see by the hinge. The car is very nearly done now. We just need to add the windshield and of course the wheels. And the car is finished. Now let's begin building the second car, the G-Class, and this time it starts in a very unconventional way with a Technic assembly. The build becomes even more interesting as we add this axle, and now we attach this to another Technic assembly. And we can already get a sense of how large this car is going to be. These interesting pieces are used, and these will help to build up the wheel arches of the car. Next, we attach these chrome pieces to make the exhaust on the side of the SUV. Now we've added a lot more pieces to either side of the car, and it's really starting to feel a lot more dense. Another interesting technique is used to finish up the wheel arches with these angled pieces. Now we're starting to build up the interior, and we've added a lot of colourful plates to the car. And now here is the first use of these new gunmetal grey tiles, and they look really cool. We've added a lot of pieces to the car now, and it's starting to feel really dense. We add on this interesting assembly to the front, which I'm presuming is going to be part of the engine. Here we add on these grille pieces and a few more details to the engine. And now we have a really interesting use of these roller skate pieces to make the door handles on the side. Now we add on this sticker tile to make the engine cover and finish off the engine bay. Next, we add in the seats for the car, and this is the first Speed Champion set with 4 proper seats for the minifigures. And now this assembly will become the rear of the car. We attach it here. Now we build the front bumper with the same interesting technique used for the grille of the car, and we use that yellow rod to attach it to the front of the car. These pieces will become the front headlights for the car. And then we add in the dashboard and steering wheel. Really interesting technique is used to attach the rear window to the car at an angle using these clips. And the result is amazing at the end. We do the same for the other side and then attach the rear window. And of course, we can't forget about the rear wheel cover. The front of the car is really starting to take shape. These pieces will make the sides of the bonnet. And now we add in the front windshield. The car is very nearly done. We need to add on minor details like the windshield wipers, which are nice to have in a car like this. And of course, we need to add on the roof as well, which will be removable. These wheels are massive by Speed Champion standards, and we'll be attaching these as the wheel covers for them. To finish up the car, we just need to attach on these wheels, and the car is finished. Before we take a look at the two cars, let's first take a look at the two minifigures. The SL63 driver has some really nice printing on his race suit, and it has the AMG logo printed on the back. Both minifigures also have glasses printed. The driver of the G-Class looks nice as well, and they have a different variation of the AMG logo printed. But now let's take a look at the two cars. They both look really nice, but usually in these Speed Champions double packs, there's a main car and a sidecar, and the main car is clearly the G-Class. It's huge, and it looks absolutely amazing. But first, let's take a look at the SL63 in detail. The front of the car does look nice. I like how the side vents have been replicated. The grille does look a bit square, but I don't think there's much you could do about that. The grille is replicated in a really nice way, and it looks pretty accurate. However, I don't really like the bonnet area of this car. It looks a bit messy. The hinge does allow for the bonnet to be opened, which is a cool feature idea, but the real bonnet of the car doesn't open in this way, so it's not a very accurate feature, and I think it would have looked better if it was just not included. The side profile of the car is pretty accurate. The only major problem is the windshield, which is a bit too curved and just doesn't look right on this car. What is nice, however, is that the interior is pretty detailed. It has an infotainment system, the steering wheel of course, and a nice feature is that the front seats can be folded down to get access to the rear seats. Now we move on to the rear of the car. The curves are replicated very nicely here. However, the rear lights do look like they're a bit far apart, and they might even be in the wrong shape. But now let's take a look at the main car in this set, the Mercedes-Benz G-Class. This car is massive by Speed Champion standards, and it looks pretty good, but let's take a look at it in closer detail. Let's start off with the front of the car. I think the front of the car is replicated pretty accurately. We have the side blinkers, we have the lights, and we even have the silver trim on the bumper, and the grille looks pretty accurate too. Moving on to the side of the car, I think it looks pretty good with the gunmetal pieces. The rear windows are in a bit of a wrong position, but I don't think there was much that could have been done about that. There are some really nice details, like the AMG logo, the door handles as I said, and the chrome exhausts. And of course, as I said before, we can remove the roof to reveal the massive interior, and this is the first Speed Champions car with 4 proper seats. Finally, let's move on to the rear of the car. I like that the spare wheel is positioned slightly to the left, just like on the real car. However, the pillars do seem to be a bit too big by the rear window. There's also an opening engine cover on this car, but this time I think it looks a lot better, and I think it's actually a good feature to have on this car. Here are the cars next to other Speed Champions cars in the lineup, and as you can see, the G-Class really is massive compared to all the others. However, they are still all at the same scale, so they can all be displayed together. In summary, both the SL63 and the G-Class are really good builds. Although the SL63 is a bit of a basic build, it has some really good details, and the G-Class is just absolutely amazing. It has some really good building techniques and looks pretty accurate, and is massive of course. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.